I'm Bianca.
And I'm Adrianne.
And we're two independent women living in New York City, going through a lot of stuff.
And that's why we're here, to share with you our experiences, and hopefully you'll learn something from it.
Or you can laugh with us.
In this episode of Women in the Wild,
we are in a new location.
Yes, we are, if you haven't noticed already, for those video subscribers.
Yes, we are in my room because the kitchen was loud.
So we're testing this out. Maybe the acoustics here will be better, so let us know, guys. In this episode, what were we talking about?
Alone time.
Ooh, that's important. What is alone time?
Being by yourself.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty broad. Not much to explain about it. It's just spending time with yourself.
So, alone time. Why is that important? Why are we talking about that in this podcast?
I guess... Well, no, we know. We live in New York City, inundated with millions of people. It's a pretty dense city. So I think it's important that kind of in the sea of people, we find time for ourselves. Especially like for our age, we're balancing work, friends, family, and like strangers in general that try to befriend you, and then you don't want to have a conversation with them. Yeah, mainly that.
That's a good point. I mean, being our age in New York, you're trying to balance so many things. At least in my case, it's like work, which takes 90% of my freaking time.
Oh, and roommates.
Family. Friends. And even when you're alone, you're usually not like having alone time. You're like doing chores, like doing laundry, cleaning the house, catching up on emails,
social media.
Social freaking media. Like, that's why it's important to have a time to just be by yourself, relax, and kind of enjoy your own company. Because we can easily fall into just doing thing after thing after thing and taking care of everything else and not ourselves.
Yeah, that's a super good point. So that's super important. I guess, what are some like signs that you need alone time? I am naturally mostly an introvert, so I don't know, I just look for it. I feel like it's a great way for me to also recharge. When you're not naturally like sociable, or sometimes like with our jobs, we're required, like you're in video, photo production, lots of creative things. You have to be super hands-on, like really communicative, that when you get home, you don't really want to, or like when it gets tiring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just nice to spend time by yourself. So, signs you need alone time? Oh yeah, go.
Well, okay, I'm gonna answer that question.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna go somewhere else, but signs you need alone time. To me, this is really bad, but it's the truth. It manifests in me being super sad a lot of the time. Like, I have these episodes like every now and then, maybe like once a month. And no, it's not my period.
We're all women in this podcast, or at least trying to understand women. It's fine.
But I get like super freaking sad, and I repeat, it's not my period. I'm not even on my period when this happens. It's just like I get really sad, like out of nowhere. I think I've reached out to you sometimes, being just like, I feel horrible.
I do the same thing.
Usually it's because I've just been back to back for way too long, with like too much on my plate, like no time to just relax, to have like a Saturday to myself or something like that. It's like rare. Last Saturday, was it last Saturday that I had nothing to do, and I was like, wow, I don't have anything to do. I think I told you. So.
Yeah, last Saturday I slept over. Remember?
Right. And then when you left, I was like, I just have the day free, and that was shocking to me. But that's good that I actually had that Saturday. But anyway, that's one of the signs for me. Like, I also get anxious. I get so irritable. Is that how I say it? And I feel those days for sure. Like, people do nothing, and I'm already so mad. I'm like, I can't stand people. I get pretty hard to be around with.
Yeah, that's actually basically the signs of why you need alone time. You get short-tempered, or like just in general, like this is what it is in like articles, books, and yes, like if you feel like you're being impatient with people, it probably means you need to step away from people. I'm the same way. Yeah. Cool. I mean, sometimes, it's kind of nice because then you already know the signs of like how when you need alone time, because it can be different for everybody else. So like sometimes if you feel sad, the ironic thing is like you need to actually take yourself away from people. When sometimes you think like, oh, I need to surround myself with more people, then you get worse. So it's like, no, maybe you go the opposite way and just spend some time alone, take the time to reflect on like what's making you sad, and then you can like bring yourself back out into the world or something.
I think the hard part is, because this happens to me, like even when I know I need alone time, sometimes I just don't want to do it. I don't feel like going back home and taking a bath with salt. Or like reading a book. And like watching Netflix feels lazy to me. Like I don't really enjoy like just watching Netflix for a whole day. So I have had those moments where I'm like, I know I should probably be by myself and enjoy my time alone. But I'm gonna call Adrianne. And then I call you. Or like I'm gonna go visit so and so. It's like I'm an introvert, but I think I'm an extrovert too, in the sense that like it's easier for me to hang out with people than be with people I really like. I'm picky with my people, but still, it sometimes easier for me to hang out with the people I like than to hang out by myself. And I like myself. I just think it's kind of like a chore sometimes to like schedule alone time.
Yeah, it does make sense. I get that way. Or like sometimes you just get so caught up also in like everything that happens, and it's like a month's gone by and it's like, wow, I haven't spent time with myself. I'm gonna have a mental breakdown and I haven't processed anything that has happened at all. Let's just keep going because New York is overstimulating.
That's exactly how I feel.
And then like the second something slows down.
I was actually thinking while you were saying all that, I was thinking, I think this is totally a New Yorker.
Yeah. And then the second thing slow down, you're like, wait, I need to be doing more. Yeah. Or like something's wrong.
Being on the go. When you're not, it's like something's wrong.
Yeah, I need to be overly stimulated again. Like we're just like New York has like A.D.D air. I don't know. It's just feeding us like stimulants all the time.
It's like, wait, there's actually that day, Saturday, didn't I get super sad or something?
Yeah. Hello. Can I tell? Yeah, I like cuddled you to sleep. You were like, scratch my back.
Yeah, don't say that. Actually, it's fine.
I mean, I grew up on scratch backs.
You know
what?
I'm soothing. I'm proud that I'm telling you to scratch my back instead of making some stupid mistake with like random people. So
exactly,
this is something to learn from too for those listening. But yeah, there it is. Like I felt like I was not being productive because I had a day off, and it got so bad that you had to freaking cuddle me to sleep. Like, why can't we just relax in New York? What's up?
Yeah, that's really hard. And it's like, yeah, you're right. It does sometimes feel like a chore because it's like, even though you like yourself, you could totally like yourself and all the activities and all these things, right? And you have your own hobbies and this and that. But then it's like, how do you make it feel like it's not a chore? I kind of wrote something down here, and like one of them is, it doesn't have to, I guess like we all think, okay, typically alone time looks like bubble bath and candles, right?
So cliche.
But you can actually define or identify like where your sanctuary is. I think for me,
you're sounding so much like a Karen right now.
I know, I'm such a
Karen.
Is this
a safe space? Sorry, keep going.
As an introvert and living in New York City who has a front-facing, like a people-facing job, alone time is so important. Also having like my previous relationship where like I had to set up structure to have alone time because we lived together. We are in the same room. We saw each other all the time because I also worked from home. So it was important. So like the structure that we set ourselves was that I have headphones on. You leave me alone. You don't bother me for anything. Maybe food. If you're asking me about food, you can bother me. But other than that, no. Like you have to like I had to figure out like okay, where can I set up this structure so that we don't snap at each other or like I'm not sick of you at the end of the day or whatever, you know.
I think I could work on alone time. And actually, this morning, you told me that I don't spend alone time. But you know what? I was thinking, and this is the thing I was gonna say earlier. So for the people watching, for our audience,
Yep.
before we started recording, we talked a little bit about the topic and whatever, and you were like, oh, let's tell some stories in the end, and I'm like, what stories? And then you said, you know, like sometimes I go to Coney Island by myself, and sometimes I do this by myself, and I felt like I do that by myself all the time. Like that's not even a story. That's what I said. But then, like I know part of my personality, I used to do that all the time. Was like grab my camera and like a notebook and then walk around Manhattan and go to freaking Central Park and really cheesy stuff like that. And like I just think that like, oh, that's something that I do. That's nothing new, whatever. But now I'm trying to think when was the last time I did it, and I don't remember. I think I've just gotten busier and busier with the years, and like I know it's something that I usually do, but I really don't remember when I did it.
Yeah.
Last time.
I guess it's also harder to have options for alone time when like it was just winter.
That's true.
It's harder to go out alone.
I guess when I go out alone now, it's just to work out and then like grab a coffee by myself.
I know.
Which is nice.
We're like
but that's not.
That's what's happening. We're entering our mid-20s. Or I am.
I remember in college, I used to like come to the city so much and just like have a random day by myself, and it was cool. Now I can, if I do that, I'll feel like I could be sending emails to so and so and like booking my next gig.
I know, the hustle never stops. There needs to be like a screen time app for like work. If you're in the creative field, I don't know. Sometimes I'm also really bad about being accountable on time, where it's like, oh, it's 10 o'clock and I'm still working on photos, when it's like, oh, I've been at it for almost 20 hours now. My roommates have come and gone and have done grocery shopping and taken trips to the gym, and I'm in the same spot. Haven't turned on the light, asked them to turn it on. That's how it gets to be sometimes. I'm sure you're the same way when you're editing or like in this constant like you're alone. Great.
I'm not home enough for that, but yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's nice because like sometimes when you edit, you are alone. You're isolated. Nobody's bugging you, so it's like, okay, that's technically alone time. But I guess
you're working, so no.
Yeah,
you're not really thinking or reflecting on your own life.
Yeah, so I guess the definition of alone time is, in addition to like spending time with yourself, it's also taking on the habits of reflecting,
getting to know yourself, practicing your hobbies, finding out things that you like and doing those things.
Spending time to find things to be grateful about, because sometimes it's like, oh, I worked so hard that it's like I hate my job already, or like sometimes it's like I'm just so tired I can't appreciate anything, and it gets to be to the point where it's like, no, like I'm so happy that like there's work to be had and there's something to be tired about, but it's like there's no time to even be grateful. And it's like, man, if 10-year-old Adrianne were to see this today, even though sometimes it feels super discouraging or like just so tiring, it's like, oh, 10-year-old me would actually be pretty proud. Yeah, like this isn't so bad where we're at.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I guess it's more like like taking that time and taking away distractions also. I mean, using your phone or like taking it away. Like if it's not a book that you're into or whatever, it could be anything, but I guess also taking the time to like put away distractions too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not just being alone physically, it's also being alone mentally. I don't know if I'm getting too deep with that, but it's like you have to be there for yourself too, mentally. Like you can be alone, but like you said, editing. And that would be then me being not surrounded by anyone, but my mind is not dedicated to me at that moment. It's dedicated to like finishing whatever work, which is probably for someone else. So yeah, that's part of it. Like whatever you're doing during alone time should be for yourself as well.
And I guess the best part about, at least for me, I like to, like, my alone time can span between, like for me, an hour alone, that's not alone time for, like, because everyone's different. Like, for me, maybe for me to actually feel like I'm recharged from social responsibilities or, like, interactions is, like, when I've gone at least a full day, like, morning to, like, evening by myself. I mean, it doesn't have to be, like, in, like, one space, but it's, like, really no interaction. Like, I'm barely on my phone. Like, I'll let people know that it's like, look, I need time by myself today. But, like, that's like, I don't know, it's like a super good way for me to also cope in a way. What was my point? I had a really important point. Okay, keep telling stories. I will remember it later.
Well, maybe it's related to what you are saying now.
Coping.
But I was gonna add to that, another really factor of why alone time is important is because if you're never by yourself, you're never gonna figure out how much you can depend on yourself, how independent you are, how much you can do by yourself, like what your potential is just being by yourself. It's like if you're always surrounded by people and people are helping you through life, the second you are in a situation where you just have to manage on your own, if you haven't had alone time, then you don't really know what you're capable of, and that's kind of scary because there's that moment will come in life when you are on your own.
And you need to just cope by yourself. Yeah, you basically, that's my point. Yeah.
And there's
you
no
learn
way
how
to
self-soothe. I think they do that with babies too. Like, when babies cry, you can't always just pick them up. They have to learn how to
cry it out,
battle it out amongst their feelings internally. Because you coddle a baby, then it's going to be harder for, in the long run to actually, it follows you into childhood, basically. So doing the same thing as an adult, I mean, we're not the same as we were when we were kids. So, like, setting up those systems, and it's kind of like, I guess it's different. Yeah, like, how to what ways work for you, and, like, I know what ways work for me. So, like, for me, I require at least, like, 20 hours for me to actually, like, benefit to have something come out of it and, like, actually feel recharged again.
Okay. So that's the thing that you were criticizing me for actually this morning. It's like, it's not that I don't spend a lot of time. You say it's too short.
But I'm basing it off of my definition. Because for you, maybe it could be, like, literally 30 minutes. And you're like, I'm ready to go out there. I'm like, oh, I'm stressed. I can't. Like, good for you. Yeah. You're like fast charging.
I guess.
Yeah.
But also, I think I've probably been avoiding just being on my own and, like, really feeling all the feelings. I think that it's easier for me to be just go, go, go. And, like, think about it for 30 minutes, like, on one random day and call it alone time and then keep going. But in reality, I feel like I also am avoiding spending that whole day about myself, by myself, thinking about my thoughts. Which is why I started therapy today, everyone.
Yay, therapy! Yeah, no, at least for me, at least when I get to, like, 20 hours, I kind of have a breakthrough somewhere in there. Just, like, it could be anything. It could be, like, the littlest thing. It's like, oh, finally figured out what snack I want. It could be, like, as little as that. Or, like, from, like, oh, I finally know, like, what show to binge watch. Or it could be as big as, like, oh, I figured out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. There are moments like that, or it's like, oh, I actually feel really stable right now.
But here's the thing. I was gonna ask that just now. Like, what if also, here's the alternative. Maybe I'm, like, afraid of my own thoughts, right? But what if I'm just, like, really okay with where I'm at and there's just literally nothing to think about? Is that an option?
Yeah, I would think so. You've, like, reached self-actualization. If that's the case, that's amazing.
I don't think so. But like, other than my freaking love life, I don't see anything to like not be happy with. Damn, that sounds really bad. But
No, it's not. That a lot of people need that. I want that. How do you get there? Why do you feel so satisfied? Let's dig into that.
I feel pretty comfortable where I'm at with my career. I like myself. I love my friends. I think I've developed and nourished good relationships. I like my place. I don't know. Like,
all right, that's it. That's the end of this episode. We figured it
no,
out.
but my
Bianca
love
will
life
share his
sucks.
secrets.
But my love life sucks. So it's like that's what I gotta focus on. But sometimes I don't feel like focusing on it. So therefore, I don't spend alone time trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
Figure that out.
It's also good that you're like taking a break from like also looking for dating, because then it also you get burnt out too, you know. So doing one of the same thing over and over again, you get burnt out. That's natural. So.
And just to clarify, I don't want to sound like a narcissist. Like I know. Obviously, I can always grow, and I have so much more to grow in every area of my life. Like I'm nowhere close to where I wish I could be. But what I mean is, I don't really have a problem with those areas. Like to the point where, like, oh, I need to set time aside to like think about.
Well, because you're actually working very hard, and you know that. So.
Yeah,
you're being
like
proactive.
I'm doing what I can.
Yeah.
And I'm doing what I can with my love life too. I just have bad luck.
Yeah, you're proactive. That's the word. It's just now, I think it's just time and patience. And I think sometimes that's like when you spend time alone with yourself.
That's a keyword. Patience.
When you spend time alone with yourself, sometimes time slows down a little bit. Because, you know, a minute alone is like, feels like an hour. Could be. You know, depends where you are at in your brain. Like,
that's true.
When I had just landed here and like settling back into New York life, I told you before, like there were days where I would sit on the couch, stare at the wall, and like I haven't moved for hours, like literally hours. Maybe about like three or four. Oh my gosh, yeah, my
Did you say your roommate left and came back and you were still there?
And that was different from the time that I was working. So like this was actual alone time. Stared out the window, and I think I was just gathering like sunlight. For some reason, it was like one day that was like super sunny, and I was just like, I'm gonna just stay here. And I don't know. I was like, I needed that.
It's
and like nothing was in my brain. I didn't even process anything. It was just like,
oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
And like nothing is going in, like nothing is overwhelming. I was just like, I'm just here in the peaceful and the stillness of it all. I can hear like people passing by the street, and I'm just like, no one's home.
You were meditating.
I guess I was, and I didn't realize, because I literally, like, I didn't close my eyes, nothing. I was just staring, and I was like...
Everything you just said just inspired me to meditate. Tomorrow morning, let's do it.
I think I was just so overwhelmed by everything that, like, my brain shut down, and I was just paralyzed on that couch, and I was like, all right, your brain's gonna just be quiet for a second. You're gonna have this moment to just be still. And I think I'm happy that, like, my body just did that on its own, and I just let it, you know, because then I heard, like, my phone, and I, like, put it away, and it's like, you know what? It feels really peaceful. I'm gonna just maintain this for a bit. Then I didn't move for, like, until my roommates interrupted it and, like, brought me out of it. That was basically the longest time I've spent by myself lately. What was your...
Wait, lately?
Like, the most amount of time you've had to yourself recently.
What is recently? Because what I was thinking of was my
month.
Brazil trip.
Oh, okay, yeah, you could talk about that.
Because that was a whole solo trip. I met
nice.
a friend there, but I spent every day by myself. So see, I spend alone time. I just forget things. I forget everything.
You need alone time to remember alone time.
My memory is horrible, man. But recently, I think that Saturday, I went boxing. And then I went... What did I do? Oh, no. It was so unproductive.
What did you end up doing? Oh, okay. That's different.
Recently, like in the past month, I don't know. It's a bad month. I've been working hard.
That's why you need alone time.
But basically, working out. See how the thing I could think of was
Mm-hmm.
a workout too?
But the big aspect that we did talk about that's important about alone time is the introspective aspect, the taking time to actually reflect and all
I
of
haven't
that.
journaled in a long time, and I used to do that a lot. And you are
I'm a
witness
witness.
now, because I showed you, and that's not even all of my
She has
journals.
archives, guys.
I have a
Okay?
box.
She got stacks.
But as I got older, that became less and less frequent, actually, and I
Mhm.
noticed that so obviously as I was growing up.
Cool. So now maybe.
I take it back.
Mhm. Especially now that you're seeing a therapist. I mean, that's another thing that you brought up that was really good. It'll also help facilitate that action of being okay with your emotions, because that's a lot of what spending time with yourself is like being okay with the emotions that surface out of you during your time by yourself.
Life
So
is so hard, man.
yeah.
Life is so hard. Like, we gotta spend time alone and figure out stuff on top of all the other stuff that we already do.
I love
Like,
spending time alone.
it's just so. You have to be responsible with so many things. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm over it.
You're tired. You sound like you really are due up on alone time.
But, like, what am I gonna do in that alone time?
That's what we're asking our audience too. We said, where are your favorite places, I guess.
But
Maybe
I do
you
that
need a
all the
vacation.
time. I just had a vacation. Well, a few months
Okay,
ago.
you just did it, but currently, now, you need another break. You, like, batteries always need to get charged, I think.
I guess I
Do
could.
you feel depleted?
I can't travel because coronavirus.
I mean, okay, museums, things, I mean.
But I do that all the time. Like, I'm done with New York, basically. Like, I go to coffee shops and I go to concerts and like, I already do all those, like, mini things that I like in the city. I feel like maybe I should go back home, like DR. But I can't travel right now.
Right. But, okay, so then what can we do about the dilemma of alone time? Or is there even a dilemma? You're just completely satisfied. Me, I'm having a dilemma.
I'm not completely sad. I do need a long time. I just don't even know what to do.
What do you guys do? Tell us. This is why we're here. We're trying to build a community here. Maybe leave us a comment on Instagram, because, man, you could see our vulnerability right now. It's like we don't.
I sound like a person that is bored. What if I'm bored?
You say you're
But I'm
bored, but
not.
it's like, no, but I do all those things. So
I was
it's like,
about to
okay.
say,
So
I'm
then
not.
what is it? What can it be? Yeah, you go out more than I do. You like go to these concerts, like, and when you're out, you have another event to go to afterwards. Like you got structure. That's great. So then,
What do you do on your alone time?
stare at walls apparently. I go to like Coney Island. I don't know. I even lately. I mean, the last time, and this was like a short time. This is like not even barely anything, but like I've been going back to church also, which has been really nice. And they moved locations, so they're in the Heights. So like I'm traveling from Bushwick to the Heights. There's like a transfer. It's like about an hour commute.
Commuting is a long time sometimes.
It is. It's actually really nice because nobody gives a crap about anybody. Everyone's minding their own business. Yeah, in a city that's super crowded, I think you can still feel pretty alone. If you want to, you can totally put on headphones. That automatically means leave me alone.
Going for walks.
Going for walks.
That I do often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just put headphones on.
Yeah.
And that always feels so good.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, it was kind of just nice to be on the train for like a full hour and like not have to worry about anything. I knew exactly where I was going, what stop I was getting off. Just like all I had to do was sit there and kind of take it all in sometimes. And because I also knew like exactly where I was going and like I already had a plan, didn't have a big bag, kind of just sat there and like stayed off of my phone. I was like kind of looked out and like never really passed that route, so it's like, oh, this is super new to me. Let me just like check out what each stop is, because I never look up from my phone when I'm in the subway. It's like, oh, I've passed by this station like 20 times, never looked up. It's like, oh, that's what it looks like. I've literally passed by that station so many times. It's made the stop there, but I've never gone out, so it's like didn't care. And it's like little things like that it's like, oh, that was there this whole time.
And speaking of little things, you know what I just realized is alone time to me? So freaking stupid.
It's never stupid. What
but
is it?
Showering.
Oh.
I have so many great realizations in the shower, like about things that I want. Like some of my
I'm gonna write that down. That's very important. That's right.
Some of my best decisions are things that I realize in the shower. I'm like, oh my god, that is what I should do while I'm like washing my armpits. That is what I should tell my boss. It's like,
yeah,
it happens often.
I love those moments when it's like, I finally have the perfect comeback for that stupid person I had to deal with today. Happens in the shower.
Because you know what? One thing I was thinking about is sometimes we don't think about what we want. And to me, at least, it happens because when I'm surrounded by people, I'm so focused on like making other people feel good and like feel comfortable and like that everyone's having a good time that I don't think too much about like what I want. Like that's almost selfish when I'm in a group of people.
Yeah. That's just because you're a good person. But yes, I should remind you. It's
Stop
like, hey,
complimenting
you're being
me. So I think that's why in the shower, for example, or like whenever I'm alone, it's like my brain goes to this mode where it's like, finally, we got her, guys. Like, shove all the ideas now before she goes hang out with someone else. Remind her that she wants to do this in life. And then I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh, I do want to make a music video for that band or whatever.
Maybe if you do Talkspace in the shower, you'll get like extra realizations.
Can't bring my phone in the shower, but that's a good idea.
Right. So yeah,
small moments.
Yeah,
count.
Little things. I think when you also have alone time, you start to appreciate the little things because it's like less is happening, and it's like, oh yeah, that was. Or like sometimes like, you know how like your life is so fast paced sometimes that you don't even remember what you had for breakfast yesterday.
All the time.
Yeah. So it's like, wow, like sometimes I've been craving for like one food for like the longest time, and I finally get to eat it, and then I forget it the next day. It's like, oh, I've been hankering for this for like 1 week, and I wasn't even grateful when I finally had it. Like seriously, I can't even remember. What the heck? Crazy. Yeah, like one of those things that it's like, oh, I really like that lunch I had last week, and it's just so simple. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna start again. Well, you guys let us know what you like to do in your alone time. Are there people out there that journal still? Like, is that just... Yeah, I think journaling came back. Like, it's kind of trending right now.
Oh, yeah, especially the bullet journaling things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my journal is not like that. It is all over the place. It's so scattered, but hey.
Power to you. What are your favorite things to do in your alone time? To get to know yourself? To, like, reflect? Do you meditate? Do you play an instrument? Do you talk? Oh, I do that too. I talk to myself a lot.
Oh.
I'm like one of those crazy people that you like see in the sidewalk and they're like talking to themselves.
I actually feel like that's a really good thing to have, and like, not to like keep the song, but like when I used to live with, when I was in a relationship and lived with other people, I like stopped myself from talking to myself because there were other people around. But now that I kind of like have my own space again and like comfortable with the people that I live with, I can actually talk to myself again. So it's actually, that's like, I feel like in order for you to talk to yourself, you actually need to be comfortable. So like that's another validation for you that you are comfortable with yourself, I think.
No, but I do that like
I'm just so proud of you. I think
literally
that you should
every day.
acknowledge that like where you are at in life and that you being happy in like a lot of areas and that you're giving yourself credit that it's like, yeah, you know, I am happy. I'm not gonna let you take my happiness away from me by telling me like I need more alone time. You are just like, I am doing those things.
I'm crazy.
And no, you're not. Like you just know what you want, and that's good.
How did this episode become about making me look perfect? I'm not. Anyway, I appreciate it. And you too.
Yeah. So.
Anywho, yes, comment down below or. Yeah, I guess comment
Not
down.
or, yes, comment down below. We need ideas for alone time.
No, I was gonna say like comment down below or what are other ways people can connect with us.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you would have the answer to that. What are other ways people can connect with us?
We are on Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. What else?
We are on Snapchat?
We are Anchor, Spotify, everywhere else. Basically, you will see us online.
Peace. Thank you for listening.